This meeting is
Yeah,
being recorded.
mostly out of the advocacy task force, but others. The idea, and partly because we got a nudge from the Archdiocese of St. Louis. The Archdiocese of St. Louis has had a mass for immigrants, a mass of solidarity with immigrants in the past. And Marie Kenyon kind of got a couple of us in Michigan together and said, "Hey, why don't you do one in Michigan?" So that became an idea. So we have a committee, and this has been talked about in the newsletter. But we do have a committee. If you want to be on the committee, we'd love to have you. There's several subcommittees: music, liturgy, the procession, uh, media, press. But it's going to be at the idea is Blessed Sacrament Cathedral. Father Tom Kramer has arranged for us to have access to the cathedral on Sunday, September 29th, starting with a procession on Woodward. Amy and several others did a kind of a site visit, and they've got a little route, down Woodward, across the street and back. So all along Woodward there, just, maybe a mile at the most. A procession, and of course there'd be banners and drums um, and then we would have a mass at 3:30 to celebrate the 110th International Day of the Migrant. The theme from Pope Francis this year is God walks with the people. The thought is if we could get 1,000 people plus press, banners, delegations from all countries. I don't know when the last time you've been at a mass that had this kind of diverse and music and an offertory that was really bringing up the bread and wine, but also other symbols of our community, of the broader community. So that's kind of a basics there, but I'm gonna stop sharing and I'm gonna say, is this a good idea? Do you like it and why? And I think I'll let Judy Brooks go first. Judy, why don't you go first? And other people, this is basically how we're going to help each other, educate each other in terms of really working together to make it happen. Judy, why don't you start and then we'll get others to talk.
Yes, I do like the idea. I think I said this the other day at one of the meetings that our immigrant families and friends get so much bad press, and especially right now, politically, they're targets. So this is an opportunity for us to be a counterpoint to that. All right, to show that we support, all right, the migrant. We appreciate all the good work that our immigrant families do in Michigan, that we support Global Michigan and it's reaching out to our immigrant families. So yeah, I think it's a great idea. I also think that it brings our circles together like the banquet does, and it strengthens strangers no longer and unites us as a community.
Okay. Anybody else? Is this a good idea? And if so, why?
I agree with Judy on all the things she said. And this occasion can be very visual, and which is, I think, something that immigrants need right now, because the press that they are receiving is all very negative and skewed. So I think this will be a positive visual opportunity.
Anybody else? Go ahead.
I was thinking, especially when you mentioned all the work that Amelia and Sister Nina has done. I was remembering the masses that we had at Holy Trinity and how just truly vibrant they were. There was I think they were called Aztec dancers, if I'm not mistaken,
From
which was
Guatemala?
very
Guatemala? Mexico or Guatemala, I forget.
I think they, yeah, it was, I thought it was the like traditional Aztec or Mayan uh, dancing and everything and their beautiful costumes. It was just so powerful. And it was at a time when we had learned that 7 or 8, 9 children had died in the chaos at the border. And we memorialized them and read their names. And then there was a testimony given about by one of the immigrants about her experience, who's no longer with us now, but she was from Guatemala. She was the family that Nativity and St. Charles supported. I've never forgotten that experience. It was just so powerful. And I think to do this in the cathedral would send a very strong message that, you know, we are calling upon the leadership of the Archdiocese and other dioceses in Michigan to recognize the desperate situation facing immigrants and migrants right now.
Thank you, Kathleen.
You
Anybody
know,
else?
Bill, I would say, Bill, that my view is the Drive Safe effort, you know, we've worked so hard all these months. It comes down to the Democrat leadership has to put those bills in the lame duck session up in out of committee. And what we're learning is there's lots of other bills that are also candidates for that. They only can do so many bills. And so this event, to my mind, is the time that we raise our voices as loud as we can for that effort. I think it could be a great public relations thing. I think press and all that, because we are actually, I think it's a very tenuous situation, I believe. And so we need something to get press, at least Detroit press, to publicize the situation and celebrate, as people have said so wonderfully, the people and then the plight of these same people in our state. So I think it's a call to action. I believe this is a call to action, and we really don't have, you know, where it's not a done deal. There's lots of pitfalls, whether or not they're going to do this or not, from what I know. And so this is a great way to, you know, to give it a nice, spotlight and all our energies. We've got all this time to really culminate in this event in September.
Could I just wanted to piggyback off what Rich just said. There was a report that came out that I heard, you know, driving in the car on NPR, of course, talking about what immigrants in the state of Michigan contribute to the society, to our society, to our economy, and on how critical they are. For example, in agriculture alone. And I think having talking points prepared, because I think so many people don't even appreciate what they do, what this group does in so many different areas, like, you know, landscaping, roofing, building, construction, all of those areas. And I think it's really important to also bring in our labor partners and have them present as well, because they're fighting the good fight for, you know, a decent wage and protections for employees, you know, people that work, immigrants. Sorry, I haven't had dinner yet and my sugar is low. But anyway, I just wanted to add on to that. So thank you.
Those are really good points. I think having talking points for all of us would be really helpful.
Yes, and for the press, for anybody that, you know, is approached by the press, it's really important to have that.
This brings to mind the 4 webinars we're having this summer. You've gotten a flyer about them more than once, but that'll give you some talking points. Each of those will.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about
Great
that
point,
too.
Kathy.
Are people, I'll tell you why I'm excited. One, beside what everybody else says, is, you know, if I could get my kids to come to, I think that this kind of an event is the kind of thing that my kids, our young children and grandchildren who don't go to church anymore, or whatever the story is,
Mm.
that this kind of an event could be something that would really give them a fresh look at what it means to be Catholic, kind of an expanded look at what it would mean to be Catholic. Any other ideas?
I think
Uh,
that the theme that the Holy Father gives us, God walks with all God's people. I think to kind of emphasize that, the experience we had at St. Anne's, I think it was not at St. Anne's, Trinity a couple years ago, where everybody came together with banners and all that. It was really, to me, it was very profound. I think a lot is going to be how it's publicized, how we go about publicizing it. And I sure hope that anything political can be left out of it. I don't know how to say that better than that, that we certainly wouldn't want anything negative to happen, because it certainly is a good idea.
I just hate to
Julie Watanabe, go ahead, Julie.
Quick question. Is it guaranteed that we're going to get the cathedral? Because my concern, if there's not a plan B, because the cathedral is very tightly associated with the archdiocese, and the archdiocese has not publicly made a position, and it's an election year. Is there a possibility that we plan for the cathedral and it gets pulled? And if that's the case, what's our backup? Because there needs to be something else in place, I think. We don't want this to not happen because of the perceived politics of it.
Yeah, that's, all I can tell you is that Father Tom Kramer does have it. Things could happen. Yes, there should be a plan B, and that should be on the committee. I'll tell you when the committee meets, but yeah, that should be.
Okay.
I've actually started to think about, 1,000 people would fit in barely in St. Anne's, I think. Amelia, what's St. Anne's capacity? Do you know? Amelia? And then Holy Trinity's only about 400, I think. So
It's
Yeah.
much smaller.
how much is that, Amelia?
Yeah, I believe what I heard, I'm not 100% certain, but I think it's 7, 8.
7 what?
7 or 8.
800, you mean?
100.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
might be a plan B.
Holy Trinity.
What about Holy Redeemer?
Holy Redeemer is 1,700, so that would be a good backup if we can.
Yeah. Holy
If the
Redeemer.
priest, if the religious
Yeah.
would allow it. Yes.
And if I can, so I'm noticing that Baratha Tan is on here, and he is one of the leaders at Saints Peter and Paul, the parish that I go to, and he and I are chatting on the side, and we think that Saints Peter and Paul could be a really good backup option as well, especially having the strong history of the church in the city. So
Yes, where it's
Okay.
located is great.
Yes.
All right, so back to Christ. Go ahead, from Christ the King. Beth.
Betty Johnson.
Betty.
I just question how you're going to get 1,000 people in any church in Detroit. I have been in the cathedral. I've been in St. Peter and Paul's. Probably Redeemer would be the best. But where are you going to get the 1,000 people?
Ah,
I
that's
don't
a-
know
We're
how-
coming.
I don't
that's a
think
good.
we can, I know I can, I'm almost positive, we would not be able to double at Christ the King. Because we barely fill, we have so few people coming to church now, and it's getting less almost every Sunday.
All right,
So
we're
I don't
gonna-
know,
We'll talk about that in a minute. Okay. as
I
soon as-
just want to I don't want to be a downer, but
No, that's what we think about all the time. Go ahead. Any other reasons why this is or isn't a good idea? I mean, any other reasons? Now, I talked about my kids and my kids. I want them to see something like this if I can get them here.
Well, I think it's even good for the migrant population, because we have people from all over the world, all over Latin America especially. And they're in different corners, Southwest Detroit, Romeo, Washington, different parts of Detroit, Port Huron, Ann Arbor, for them to come together and see that animo, that strength, that power, that the word you've been using, grace of us being together. I
Right.
think that's important.
Right. Hey, speaking of which now, Sister Martha, why don't you what are the men and women of the circles, the immigrant circles saying? Martha?
Well, we had a meeting just last Thursday, and of course the reactions were positive. And even though some of them said that they are a little concerned about safety for them, because most of the members of the circles are undocumented. However, they can go to the church directly, and so they are enthusiastic, and they're going to begin working on that. And also one of the things that we are doing, and it has been also, I think, in the newsletter, what we are doing for support this legislation, the nuns, the women, the men, and so the immigrants are going to send a letter to their bishops to meet with the bishops also. So they are going to do it. So, and they are enthusiastic. I mean, they say that we have to do it. The women from Holland, the women from Ionia are planning to come. So that's why we have this schedule at 2:30, because they have to leave early, and then they have to return early. And also some of them, of the coordinating committee, they are participating also in the planning committee. So that's good. We have translation, simultaneous translations. So so they can give their opinion, and they can give some lights also. And so, and we have invited more to participate that, and that's why also we updated the time of the schedule, because it was 5 to 6, and for them it is a little bit difficult, but they are
Okay.
participating in this also.
Great. And Sister Grace, why don't you just talk, the September 29th is right before the synod reopens. Grace, what's your thought on that? You texted, but go ahead.
I did. I put in the chat. It's almost like God walks with his people, the theme, but that's also the overall theme, the image, the graphic image for the synod is all the people from the youngest to the oldest in wheelchairs and everybody in between walking together. And the overarching theme for the synod has been participation, communion, and mission.
Great.
So
And,
there might be some mileage.
the discerning deacons are thinking that one of their members of the women deacons organizing, one of their members was at the first synod and is likely going to go back to the second synod, and maybe the mass could actually commission or be part of the send off, so that we're somehow sending her off to Rome. So okay, well, let me shift here. Go ahead.
Can I?
Okay.
It just strikes me interesting that a lot of the women, or several of the women, commented that they might be a bit afraid because some are undocumented. And is there some way that we who were born here, don't want to separate, because we come across as two groups this way. Is there some way that we who've been born here can surround and walk with those who are undocumented? Rather than, there's a comfort with being just the women who are immigrants. On the other hand, if we can really make ourselves be integrated with that, I think that's would be a good showing for us.
That and plus they know that they don't have to walk on Woodward. They could just wait inside the church. So
whatever, we need to be with them and in between them and surrounding them and hugging them. Yep.
I think that's beautiful. And I will just add to that the MetaPeace team has already agreed to join us and walk with us as well.
Good.
Do we know who's going to celebrate? Has that been decided?
No,
Has it-
Father Dave Burstmeyer is our chaplain, so he's considering this, and I think he's the likely one, but he hasn't. He's thinking about, if we had a new archbishop, wouldn't that be something? The new archbishop. So that's another. By the way,
Yeah,
that's
that
another
should be
reason that somebody kind of alluded to that, but we will get a new archbishop sometime. And for the new archbishop to
Right.
sense that there is a community that's really growing and that is supportive of Pope Francis and immigrants. Okay, so I'm going to turn this over to Grace. Grace, and then you can. So the question is, how do you get your numbers up? So that was what Betty asked there. So Grace, why don't you give me a second here, and I will. How do you play this? Oh yeah, from the beginning. All right. Now, if you can't see this, you can make small the pictures on this somehow. Okay, go ahead, Grace. Well, Grace, you want to do this?
Yeah. So we're kind of I put this at the end, but I think we're doing this first. There's a series of webinars in regards to immigration that you can go onto the Strangers No Longer website and register for these Zoom meetings. So they're the Tuesdays of July, August, and September, with the first one being next Tuesday. I've personally already signed up for them. So yeah, these are just a way to integrate and learn about a bit more about what's happening.
So getting the entire parish to know about this is usually through the parish bulletin. So I know our church, it's in the parish bulletin at Jesu, but that's one way to start the buzz for September 29th. Because do you want to say a word about this, Kay or Rich and Kathy? I know you've been working on this thing.
Go ahead, Kathy. Why don't you, or Rich, you start and I'll add. Go ahead.
I think it's all here, what's coming up. Actually, at our first presentation, we're going to have an aide from Representative Alyssa Slotkin's office. So that's pretty good. And we've already got 75 people signed up. So each subject has got a lot to teach us all. And
Well,
as
I was thinking when I saw that 75 people number, that there you go, there's 75 people. If we can get them all to the cathedral to march. Yeah. I mean, that's a huge amount of people.
But actually, we find we get most people register right towards the end of an event. Right. So we're going to do a mailing on Friday. I think we'll get another 50 people. Now, whether else show up, I think we'll take 100.
All right, and
if every circle leader were to get the news inside the online, most parishes have online bulletins now. Get it into your parish bulletin. If they miss the first one on July, they can catch the next one in August. Kay, go ahead.
I am going to be a part of session number 2, which we entitled What is Really Happening at the Border. Well, now with the executive statement from the president to limit the number of people who are allowed into this country, that's just really raised a ruckus. And so I think this will really be a hot topic. I'm hoping that my presenter will be able to do a really good job with that. He lives down there. He is part of it. So he really will have his hand on exactly what's happening to fill us in. And with the first session really is going to be focusing on some of the proposals that Representative Alyssa Slotkin has made that are very basic, sound recommendations that none of us would laugh at, would think is really dumb. They don't really hit at the heart of what we need to do, but they're a beginning. And so those are very realistic recommendations from session number 1. I'm session number 2 on what's really going on at the border. They were coming in. Were they really pouring in the way we were shown on TV or not? And now what's going to be happening with that number being limited?
Great, thank you. Okay, so put it in the parish bulletin. That's one idea. Grace, go ahead. Grace
yeah.
Seefeld.
Yeah. These are just some of the other ways that you can get people in your parish to be active with this and get people involved. Option one is an immigrant women's leader. So, Doris, I believe is her name.
Darius.
Yes, Darius, yes.
Darius, my bad. So they can come, and this would be in front of the entire parish or whatever we can work out between the parish and the circle leaders and communication between everyone involved. Ideally, it would be in front of everybody so that more people are able to learn and find out about this. But I mean, anything will do. Exposure is exposure. And the immigrant women would be able to speak on why they've left their home, her experience to the States, life, how it is now being in the States, and then what she hopes to gain from working with strangers no longer.
Grace, sorry, Nancy or Judy, did you hear, what's her name? Darius spoke at St. Charles Borromeo to the whole parish.
Yes.
And how was it received?
Go ahead, Nancy.
I think it was received well and that people showed an interest. I think we would have liked probably a bigger response, but we are happy that it was put in the forefront. I think more people now know about Strangers No Longer. They know they have actually met a person who part of our group and someone who's experienced this kind of an event, because I think most people only know to hear on the news. So I think to have something personal and something different and something coming from the heart is a really positive move.
The pastor gave like 7 minutes of his homily, right? Didn't he? Oh,
yes.
didn't he?
Darius was disappointed in that she had a lot more to say, but she was very limited.
And somebody told me the congregation gave her a standing applause or something.
Yes.
Okay. All
Yes.
right. So it was good. It was
And
good.
could I just add that over at St. Charles after masses, they serve they call it a dinner, but a luncheon where everybody's welcome. And so the circle people are signed up to serve that dinner and to sponsor that dinner. I think that makes a big difference too, because now they're aware that it's Darius speaking, but she has this whole circle of support that's visible to them, all right, with her and helping her. So I just think that there was a whole lot of positive vibes for the organization as a whole. It wasn't just like bringing in Darius. It was just like a celebration of the circle, and it was nice.
Okay. All right. So go ahead, Grace, back to you.
Other option, number 2, would be to bring a student from Youth for Action on Immigration. Amy, I believe, works very closely with these students. So they would be able to speak on why it's important for them as young Catholics to put their faith into action, the personal impact from supporting and getting to know immigrants, which I think is kind of what we were speaking about with Darius, and being able to actually see who you're impacting when you get involved in working, and why they think everyone should join the Mass on September 29th.
Okay, and I think we're going to have ours at Jesu. One of the young women wants to come to Jesu, Kathleen. So Amy, do you want to make a comment?
Just to say that the youth are really excited to do this, and the youth are wildly busy over the summer. Like lots of more than I ever did as a high schooler during my summer times. So please, if you do think you want a student to come to your parish, the sooner you can reach out to me to schedule that, the better, because I need time. I'm also limited in terms of like AOD rules. I can't pick up the phone and call the students. So everything has to go via email. It takes a little bit of planning. So the sooner you can get to me about this, the better, but they're very enthusiastic to come and share with our parishes.
Great. And then of course, Father Dave Burstmeyer, go ahead, Grace.
Option number 3, Father David Bursmeyer on Catholic social teaching. He was a senior priest and part of the initial starting of Strangers No Longer. And he's able to kind of speak on Catholic social teaching, what that is, how this relates, and what it embodies. Yeah.
Okay.
You know,
And-
we heard Father Dave when he spoke out at Resurrection in Canton, and I thought he did a really good job explaining Catholic social teaching. I have a question for you, Amy. I'm thinking Catholic schools start up in August, like U of D, Mercy, whatever.
Right.
I would think that would be a place, and for you too, Gracie, to take a student. I mean, they have those clubs. I don't know how you would do it, but those are the young Catholics we'd like to get at to see what really the church enacts.
Those are the students that are doing the speaking. So the students from those schools will be the ones doing the speaking. Is that what you?
But I mean, like in the fall, like could they go to other schools, Catholic schools?
Yes, they do. Yeah, that model has been done too. So absolutely, and
Like
they're
Shrine seems to be getting more involved in things.
Shrine has a circle. So we have 12 circles in 12 different Catholic high schools. And so there are more that we need to reach out to, absolutely. And we're hoping that we can use this September 29th, just like the parishes are using September 29th as an opportunity to engage more. We're hoping to do the same thing in the schools as well. So absolutely, Karen, you're spot on.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, and then finally, we're gonna go a little over, I'm afraid, but Grace?
Option number 4, a member of Strangers No Longer. So that would be Amy, Bill, someone else. Who can
You,
come in, me as well. Who can speak on the goals of Strangers No Longer, the future events that people can partake in, and then how their involvement can help the greater good of their community and those around them.
okay, so there it is. Okay. Now, let's see, it's 7:54. Can we go till 8:10? Could we go for 10 minutes extra?
Yeah, we could.
Now Grace is gonna keep notes here. There's how to start here. If you can give a goal for how many you want from your parish to go to the mass. So for instance, Jesu, if we had 30 at the banquet, could we up that Kathleen, you give a number, I can give mine, but you give yours. So the first question is how many people do you want? Not committing, but how many people from your, and by the way, Betty, it's not just Christ the King, it's those other 7 parishes. It's how many people really do you want to bring from your church or from a couple of churches that you know to the mass? So the first thing is the number that you would like to bring. And the second question is what do you want to do over the summer to so that the whole parish can sit? Do you want to have one of the kids? Do you want to have one of the women? Do you want to have Father Bursmeyer, etc.? So I'm going to go down the line here. We won't finish in time. So Judy, I'm going to start with the president of the board, and you got Nativity in St. Charles. So if you could just give the name of your parish, just so Grace knows this. Grace is going to keep track here. So Judy, how many people do you want to bring to the mass? And what do you want to do over the summer to involve the whole parish somehow?
So it's Nativity St. Charles. We had 30 at the banquet. I think we probably can get 60 people. And I'm thinking when you're thinking like doubling it, you're thinking to ask the people who already went to invite a friend and to bring families. I mean, this is a family event, so I think that makes it easier to up the ante a little bit. And in terms of the summertime event, of course, we had the dinner. That was quite an event. But I think we've talked at our circle about having the young people come. Did we not, kind of, Nancy?
Yes.
It said kind of how important it is because we, as a group, all right, don't see the investment of our youth very often. And so that would be important.
So you're thinking 60 plus bringing one of the youth to speak at the masses,
Mhm.
something like that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, now I'm gonna, who's ready to talk right now? Because I'll start. Go ahead, Amy.
For Saints Peter and Paul, Baratha and I talked before he had to hop off. We're thinking at least 25, and that's starting from scratch for us. And then is an immigrant speaker, at least to start.
Okay, that's St. Peter and Paul. Who wants to go? Rich?
Yeah, so Rosemary Inslee for our Mother Perpetual Help is planning a Versmeyer event in August. She's going to invite the whole family of parishes in the area. And my thought is if we had 20 at the banquet, we can easily double that and invite the folks that come to the event here as well. So I think it's at least 40 to 50 for the event in September. But we do have Versmeyer coming in August as well.
Is that like outside of mass? You're going to try to do that?
Yes. Yeah, and she's going to try to invite churches that don't even have circles in the area of Perpetual Help. You know, Christ Our Light, other churches around. So we're kind of making it a little bigger event in the Oakland County area is what Rose is thinking. But I would think all those folks can be invited from there, and then again they bring a family member or something like Judy said. I think that's where it can easily multiply pretty quick.
I agree.
Grace, are we going too fast for you?
Nope.
I'm joking. All right, who's next? Who's next?
Betty, what do you think about Christ the King and our family of parishes? We've got Saint Suzanne also. We can hit them a little harder, and also include Saint Paul of the Cross. I think we get people from there. And I already have 6 people from my family that have given me confirmation, including Grace's mother, who is not a church.
Okay, Karen, let's go at least 50. If you're speaking all those people, I think we could probably do 50.
Okay.
I know that, it's summer, it's vacation time here.
Yes.
But I think you should think about having a school outing. You have a school there. I think you should hit up the principal, for the junior high kids to go. All right, and I know the group isn't big, but when I was there, we did some things like that. So
that's a good
I'd hit
idea.
up the principal.
Yeah, we also
and Father McKenzie is just big into saving that school. So this is the PR move for him.
That's right. We also have Sienna Literacy across the street, and the staff there I know will be interested, and some of the students I think might be interested.
Right, so you're thinking 50, right?
Oh, maybe we could up that a little bit. So let's start with 50.
50, but what about for Christ the King on Sunday Mass? Are you going to try to bring somebody in?
I don't know.
I'm not saying you're going to have success, but do you want to bring somebody in, and who would it be?
We can work on that together.
Okay, Grace, talk to your grandma.
That's right. That's a tough one, Betty. We'll
All right, we'll save it. We'll say
I keep saying it's hard to bring our people in because they're not documented. So we'd have to find somebody who's documented who can speak. Because our women don't want it.
There are ways we can talk about it. There are ways around that. They don't necessarily have to talk about their status. And we can also bring in one of our leaders who are comfortable. Plenty of our undocumented leaders have shared their stories.
Yes. Veronica does a great job. We had Veronica. She does a great job.
Let's move off Christ the King then, and Grace will work with all right. Not somebody else. Somebody else. Go ahead, Sister Becky.
I'm dreaming. I think between Our Lady of the Woods and Good Shepherd, even if we offered a bus, like busing from downriver to Detroit, 50 maybe plus 20. So I'm going to dream maybe 50 to 70.
What about the sisters from the Monroe?
Well, we can try. The sisters from Monroe are my age and older, but anyway, we'll see. We can do that too.
So 50 to 70 for Sister Becky down there. Okay.
And what about
what about anything for the summer presentation at the parish, or one of the immigrants, or one of the kids, one of the high school kids?
That one I will work on with the coordinator, with Carol. We've talked about it, but
okay, Grace.
Some more discussion. Yeah.
All right, great. Thanks. Let's see. I think Julie Watanabe.
I love that you are all optimists. As the realist in the room, I think that probably since my group's about 13 to 15 on a good day, hopefully everyone can bring somebody. So my hope would be 30. I think the only thing I have a shot at getting is Father Dave. So that's what I'm gonna go with, because
Okay.
I think Father Dave is the most theological, the least political, and would be able to understand the realities of the culture in my parish and to present in a way that doesn't set the place on fire.
I want to do that. And by the way, Julie, you know, with the Chaldean Center there, I'm just kind of wondering, it's in Sterling Heights, I think, the
It
Chaldean.
is. Yeah.
Maybe we can get in there. We'll see. You have a delegation from the Chaldean Center join you.
That would be interesting. And there is talk. I mean, we have talked about the possibility of if we can't get Father Mike on board, maybe going with Father Randy at St. Blaise. So we're going to try to play around with some of the other sister parish in our family. You know, all I can say is no.
It's great. Okay, who's next? Jim, Kay, did you want to go next?
Well, I'm part of what we're doing with Rosemary Inslee, where she's sending the invitation to Oakland County. In addition to that, I believe we can probably get 20 people to attend. Because we usually are pretty good at things that, you know, that we've done and just, you know, the things at the Union last year and stuff like that at that Union Center. And I would love to have maybe Veronica come to our parish to see what I could do. I think she could do well with our people.
Great.
So that's kind of a goal that I'm aiming at.
Great, thank you, Kay. Let's see, did we go yet, Jesu? Kathleen?
No. You mentioned that you had a student in mind, somebody that, and I as I thought about it, there's so much going on at Jesu right now, that having someone come, having a young person come and take that 5 to 8 minute window at the end of all of the masses on a Sunday would probably be the most effective, and would get, you kind of have a captive audience, I guess, is what I would say. So I think, Amy, I think you can put us down for someone. Obviously, I need to speak to our pastor and get permission, just get his, I'm sure it will not be an issue, but I think that would be good. I think we could, from Jesu, I'm going to say 60. I'm going to double what we had at the banquet. And if we encourage people to bring their families, then that can push that number up,
Okay, great, Kathleen. Let's see, Jim Root. Jim, you want to go from Jim or Scott?
Yeah, Scott Wright has many times organized what he calls a pilgrimage, where he gets lots of people to sign up to get on a bus. And especially if we can get our pastor to join us, we'll have no trouble more than filling a bus. We have to do is get on his radar to get it scheduled. And I think we're capable of bringing 50 people. Whether we pull it off or not, we'll have to see.
I'm watching Scott, if he's squirming or if he's excited about that. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, it's good when you can get the priest to say, "I want to go," the people follow. They really do.
All right. Okay. Now let's see, who are we missing, Grace? And St. Mary's of St. Mary of the Hills. Go ahead.
All right, I'll jump in. My thought is a wraparound starting the end of June on Migrant Day and finishing on September, and doing maybe 3 or 4 things during the summer and targeting all the groups that we have around here. It's a wonderment to me. We celebrated a Guadalupe Mass and 200 people showed up. So, there's people. we'll see. So 20 plus.
And then you might do you might do all three, one of the immigrants, one of the kids, is that what you're thinking?
Yes,
Multiple things.
spread
Okay.
out over the summer.
All right. And let's see, Oscar, Oscar from Lansing, Crystal Ray, do you want to jump in here? Scott Wright says 56, by the way. Got that, Grace? Hello,
Yeah,
Oscar.
I'm just learning about all this, so I'm gonna try, but I cannot make promises now. I'm gonna see what I can do.
Okay. Oscar's in a parish out in Lansing, Crystal Ray, but he also has been part of the Drive Safe Steering Committee for the last couple of years, I think, Oscar, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, thanks, Oscar. Now, Amelia,
Amelia.
St. Anne's, do you want to talk, Amelia? What do you think? Amelia Mata?
I'm gonna say 20 and maybe having immigrant. I'd like to see an immigrant and a youth and also strangers no longer throughout the summer.
Those are three things. Okay, great. And that we could do it at St. Anne's and at Most Holy Trinity. So we can, whatever it is, Father Monsignor Kasanke, it would go to two different parishes. Okay?
I have a quick question.
Grace, go ahead.
Jim, did you say what you wanted to do for a speaker, or was that up in the air, or did I miss that completely?
I think any of those options would work for us. But our committee will get together afterwards and work it out. So no, I didn't commit to which.
Perfect. I just wanted to make sure I missed anything.
Grace, get ready to add up those numbers, okay, real quick. And then Amy, why don't you just comment about the high school? What are the high school teachers thinking about the Mass?
Well, the high school teachers are super excited about this, as are the students, because this is something that is really going to be engaging. I think I had a meeting with them and this past week, and this was a small part of the meeting, but we spent a huge amount of time on it because they were so excited, thinking about ideas and the ways that they have found engaging liturgy that works for young people in their own experiences. So a few of them are going to join us on our liturgy planning. We're going to have a party before the pilgrimage with our youth to make signs. We're thinking about meeting in Clark Park or somewhere else and just have some pizza and music and have students, invite students to make some signs and big butterflies and things that we can carry on the pilgrimage. So I think, Bill, what you were saying earlier in this meeting about this being an engaging and exciting thing for young people, it certainly is ringing true for our youth. They're very excited about this. So looking forward to it. And if Kaylee comes through, one of our co-chairs for this upcoming year, she's going to bring 1,000 people herself. So, we might have 2,000 joining.
Wow.
So Betty, this is
Standing room only.
Betty, this answers your question of how do we get 1,000? Okay, so this is, what was the number just from the parishes that were on the call here tonight, Grace?
If Scott's was in addition to Jim's number, then we're looking at 501. If not, we are looking at 445.
Okay. All right. So we're 445. If you're able to do what you want to do. So then Grace's job over the summer, and Amy and Martha and I, our job is to help you with your parish. Our job is to help you in any way we can. And Grace, why don't you give people your phone number just so they got it.
I think a lot of you might already have my phone number, but if you need to does anyone want to write it down just in case?
Yes.
Yes.
Okie dokie. I'm gonna wait 2 seconds. Everyone ready? 248-765-4624. And if it goes straight to voicemail, that means my phone's on Do Not Disturb, so just call me a second time because I'm trying to get out of that habit.
So I'd like to hear if people thought this was worthwhile, the meeting, Sister Martha, Would you do we didn't talk about it. Would you do a closing blessing for us?
Yeah. And
And
Bill, I have an announcement. Don't forget.
go ahead, Amy.
Just to say that we are looking for a chaperone to go on a border trip, an immersion trip to the border, through the Arise program with the Sisters of Mercy. This would be with our Shrine High School, that they are going June 22nd to the 29th. I was scheduled to be their second chaperone together with their campus minister, but I'm having some leg back issues that won't allow me to go. So if anyone would like to be my replacement or know somebody who would like to be my replacement, please, please let me know. As soon as you're able, there is this opening, and we will pay for your flight. So it's a free trip to the border.
All right, Julie Watanabe, if you're not doing anything this summer, there's a free
I'm
trip
gonna
to
be
the
in
border.
Europe. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Let's clone me.
spread the word. All right, how was this meeting? How was this meeting? We only scheduled it a week or 10 days ago. How was this meeting for you, Sister Grace? How was the meeting?
Hopeful.
Okay. Richard, Dick Brown, you're new to this group and you gave up another meeting to be here. How was this meeting for you?
I found it quite interesting. It expanded my ideas on a variety of topics because we were talking, my wife and I were talking about this, a broader subject on immigration and that, but this covers an interesting aspect of it. So I really appreciated the opportunity to sit in and listen.
Okay. Scott, how about you as the other newcomer to the table here?
Wow, you're pretty efficient. You got us out of here fast. So you guys have got a lot of good focuses and working together, a nice plan. So thank you for your work.
Okay, Julie, how was the meeting for you? How was it?
It was good. I had a sense of what I was able to commit to when we started. I love that so many of you want to swing for the fences all the time. I think that actually is a wonderful, wonderful thing. And it keeps me on my toes.
And Grace, thank you. Grace, you're going to send everybody a sign-up sheet so people can.
I already sent that out.
Ah,
If you didn't get it, let me know. But I'm pretty sure everyone already got it. Maybe, hopefully.
Anybody else? What could have been better? Any other
I
comments?
thought it was very energizing hearing ideas tonight. I think that's helpful for all of us.
Encouraging.
Yeah, encouraging.
Right, Betty, thank you, Betty. Thank you, Grace.
Anybody
else?
What
Dave?
seems
Okay.
what seems impossible at the beginning, 1,000 people, come on, and then, but I've learned that we verbalize what we can commit and what we would need to do and what resources we have and who we can get to work with us, and these amazing things happen. We've seen it over and over in this group.
Listen, I think everybody knows the work you and others, Rich and Kathy, have put into this webinar series. So the fact that you laid the groundwork makes us be able to think about other possibilities. So I think we should give you a round of applause, the three of you, and others. I know there's others too, but looking forward to next Tuesday.
We
Hey, Bill, I'm going to say 5,000. That's my number. 1,000 is too easy. It's 5,000. Let's go.
And
for
then
it.
there's Rich.
All right.
Let's really swing for the fences. That's what the heck.
Well, could I say something, please?
Oh, Janice, are you?
Yeah.
From
Can I say
Nativity? Go ahead,
something?
Janice, and then
Yes.
Sister Martha. Sister Martha.
I- I know I would have to clear this with Father Bursmeyer, but probably with our new incoming pastor first. But I was thinking our summer picnic is coming up. Maybe he would let us have like a meet and greet table, information table that just for general information about SNL, but also to talk up the mass thing to the people.
Janice, thanks for coming on. I know you had trouble getting on. All right, any other thing before Sister Martha does a closing blessing? Anything else? Okay, let's keep each other in our prayers and Sister Martha.
Okay, thank you, Bill. Well, just ask the Lord to bless all the efforts that each of us are doing for in the cause in favor of the immigrant people, all of them. And may God bless us with a lot of hope, enthusiasm, and ideas to continue the construction of the building of his God's kingdom, and that we may be listeners to his voice and his love for the most vulnerable. Amen.
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 Thank you, Sister Martha. Okay, it's great seeing everybody.
Rich, I have a question for you. Can you hear me? Rich, it's Judy.
Yes, I can hear. Sorry, yes.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, all right.
Everybody, our meeting's over. You guys, if you need to talk. Right, we'll
Go
keep
ahead,
it.
Judy.
Rich, you sent out the email agenda for next Tuesday's webinar. And you said, that I was doing the introduction and there was an attached script, but there was no attached script. It was an attached agenda of all the people that and their time frames. But did you do a
that's all I
script or
meant.
not do a script?
Oh, I shouldn't have said script. That was my mistake.
Just-
It was
Okay.
a
Yeah,
order.
speak
Sorry.
time.